Hello. So today's tutorial is going to be the bracelet version of the fidget key rings. So these can be a key ring. You can put it on your bag, put it on a zipper. You could even put it on a lanyard if you wanted to, obviously safely. Or else these can actually go around a child's wrist. It won't go around my wrist, I can't show you. Around a child's wrist, and it can be worn quite discreetly underneath a long t-shirt or a jumper or a coat even. So they're quite versatile. I did this with my daughter's friends at a party for her 7th birthday. They've also been requested by my lovely friend's lovely 9-year-old. When it was her birthday, she wanted to give some to friends in her class. To make this one, what we're going to need is we're going to need a clasp, and you're going to need 8 beads. You can have whatever colour beads and clasp that you like. I'm using a metal one today. I have previously used plastic ones, as long as I've got a loop or something to tie the end of the cord to. You could also use something like this, which you'll probably find hidden around your house somewhere. We also are going to need some cord. So this is 2mm cord, and it is it's just rainbow variegated thread cord. It's just nylon, nothing particularly exciting. All the materials that I've got today are either from Amazon or that I've got off Vinted. So I got a massive bag of pony beads from Vinted a little while ago. This was mainly for my daughter's birthday party. We didn't use as many as I thought would. So you're going to need 8 beads. So these have got quite big holes. So that's just to make sure that the bigger thread, which is a little bit more sturdy, I think is the word, especially when it's going to be fiddled with, so that these can go through these twice. So if you're looking at what beads and cord you want to use and something you've got lying around the house, really, you want to just make sure that it's going to go through the bead twice comfortably, especially if you're doing it with children. So there you can see that goes through twice. So that's as thick as they need to be. Generally, the plastic pony beads, you can pick them up quite cheaply again on Amazon. Hobbycraft have them. You can normally get these in places like the Range. You can get with kits if you look in the drawer, especially if you've got younger children and you've got jewellery making kits. Generally, there'll be something like this in there. They're quite cheap to pick up though, if not. Okay, so you're going to need 8 beads for this particular bracelet slash keyring. The thread, I go by using about 40 centimetres, and that generally fits around a child or a teenager's wrist. Okay, so then what you want to do is, to start with, we're going to fold this cord in half. Okay, so the 2 ends meet sort of fairly well. It'll just make sure that you make the most out of it. And then you'll have a loop at the other end. So you then want to thread this through where you want to hang your keyring or bracelet from. Okay, so it needs to hang sort of quite freely. Put your fingers through the loop, and then you want to pull the tails through. Okay, so that's a slip knot. There you go. Just a really simple knot. Just pull it tight and just make sure that your ends are still fairly similar length at the end. If they're not, you can just readjust them. Okay, so then we can add beads, which is the exciting bit. So I like to do a rainbow. You can do absolutely any colour that you like. Again, you can get this cord in any colour that you like, so you can do any combination. So I'm going to go with a rainbow design. And what we want to do, which I'll just show you a little bit more in detail, is we want to put one end through one side of the bead, and we want to put the other end through the other side of the bead. So you'll have your 2 pieces there, and then we want to pull it tight. So that's what we want to do for all of them. So I'm going to show you that again slowly. So you've got your 2 pieces. We're going to pick the next bead, right? We're going to put that on one side like that, and we're going to put the other side through there. So you're pulling them opposite directions. So this is going to give you that nice movement. Okay, so next bead, and I'll show you once more. Through one side, and it doesn't matter which side you do first. You can do whichever side is comfortable for you, and then you put the other side through the other way. So as long as they're going opposite ways, you're absolutely fine. Okay, so let's go on the next one. So So that's 4, and I only want another 4, so I'm just going to get rid of one of those. I've obviously miscounted. It's not a good start, is it? Okay, and then you want to do that all the way down up until you get to your last bead. So generally, as a rule of thumb, I use 8 beads if I'm doing a bracelet. And you can do it with any amount of beads that you like, but it probably won't fit around your wrist if you're only using sort of 6 beads and a shorter piece of cord. Obviously, you can use less beads and a longer piece of cord if that's what you prefer. So that's what you're going to end up with. So that's 8 beads on. And as you can see, we've got these 2 tails here that we don't want it to fall off. So what we need to do is gather them both together. And then I'm just going to make a little loop. So this can be a little bit tricky. It's almost like tying the end of a balloon, which is annoying. So I'm going to turn it around there. So we've got a loop. You see there. And then we're going to put both tails underneath. And then we're going to go through that loop there. Now, at this point, before you tighten it, try and push the knot as far down as you possibly can and just give it a really good tug to make sure it's tight. Now, if you're an adult using this, you can melt the end of the cord with a lighter. I wouldn't recommend doing it with children. Usually the knot suffices, but it'll just make sure it's really extra safe, especially if it's going to be somebody who's likely to put things in the mouth, because we don't want the choking hazard of the beads coming off. But generally, if it's an older child, you can just cut that end there and make sure it's nice and tight. And there you've got your beaded keyring. So to turn it into a bracelet, all you need to do is put it around your wrist, and then you're going to pop the loop from the bottom of the cord, through there, and there you've got yourself a little fidget bracelet. You can take it off and play with it, or you can play with it on your wrist. So there it is. So let me know in the comments how you went on with that. Show me some pictures. I'd love that. By all means, any questions, please put in the comments and I'll try and answer any questions that you've got. The measurements I will also repeat in the description, and let me know if there's anything else that you want a tutorial for. Thank you.